was sort of seat of the pants. There was nothing much there at that time for us to work with. So that got me into ABA and special education, which I really had no inkling that I would be going into early on. And well, let me turn it over to...
Well, tell a story about the first child you worked with.
Oh, well, this was interesting. This was a summer program at the American School for the Deaf in Hartford, Connecticut. We all kind of moved down there, and the idea was to serve kids that summer who were deaf, but also had other disabilities like autism, mental retardation, as it was called then, and so on. Mm-hmm. And one of the first things I was assigned to do was to work with a little girl named Kelly, who was 7 years old. She was deaf and had been diagnosed with autism even at that time. This was the early 70s. It's kind of an unusual diagnosis, but she had all the classical behaviors, the rocking, nonverbal, no eye contact, some self-injury, just, a lot of things that we associate with moderate to severe forms of autism. And remember, she was also deaf, so communication had not at all been started with her. And so I looked around. There were, of course, the LOVA stuff. I read that, and let's see, I forget who else had done some research at the time. But, whoops.
Here we go. You keep going.
Oh, okay. But I settled on eye contact as being the first skill that we could work on. And because I felt that would at least get her looking at me, and since she was going to have to learn how to sign and respond to signs, the visual attention was something we should work on. So I won't go into detail, but I used prompting and I used reinforcement and baited the prompts and so forth. And by the end of the summer, she was giving me a lot of spontaneous eye contact. She was, instead of having to be dragged to the session with me, she was actually voluntarily walking there and seemed to enjoy working with me. She was starting to make active choices. That was one of the things we were working on as well. And I got her parents involved. Her parents were absolutely thrilled, and they were happy to work at home with her. Up until then, they had had her to many doctors, psychologists, and basically they were told, well, your kid has autism. Bye. Nothing, what they should do, no resources. They had some people, therapists working with their child, but the therapist would not allow them to observe the sessions. So they had no idea what was even being done. How could they do things at home? Anyway, things worked out quite well. The parents were very pleased, and Kelly was on her way to a much better life with some communication. I did get to come down there in the fall of that year after I'd been gone for a couple of months. And she was really doing well. She still had, she was still not, she still had autism, let's just say, but she was communicating, making choices, following directions. She was kind of a different kid from what, so to me, that was a profound experience for me because I saw the power of ABA. Even though it was pretty rudimentary in the way I was implementing it, it had a wonderful effect on this child. The parents were so happy and could work with her at home. And I started really getting into this field of special ed, especially autism. It's such a fascinating area to pursue.